Hello everyone, welcome to week 6 and Tangle 16. In the last episode, I finished up the entry API story by getting it to work not only locally but in the cloud. And so all of these scenarios pass, which means that I can, this should have been assigned to me, I can move it from in progress to done. Normally I'd have other things to pick up from to do, but because I wanted to get going quickly and show you how things work, I didn't create more than one story. I'm going to do that now. Let's take a look at the timeline. So we can look at the epics that we have. We have web app skeleton. I do want to do the app template. And then as far as entries go, we want to display the stuff from the API, which is this tan8 here. So I'm going to go down here and just start working on these. Open that up. Also going to open up the epic, because a lot of times epics have information in them you want to use. Let's open up my Mira. Okay, so for the skeleton, we're just looking at the top here. I think we're going to need a title here as well. Could be a logo title. Yeah, that's what we should do. And the story itself. All right, so let's write the Gherkin. I'm going to use IntelliJ this time, just because it has better editor support for Gherkin. And it's going to be down here in, oh, you know what? This shouldn't be here. This should be down in test. So we need to create a test resources directory and put this down here. And I'm going to make a folder. Let's just call it app for now. Create a new file, which let's call nav template for now. It's a feature file. Add it. Okay, 3 scenarios. First one navigates to a URL, and then you check to see that the page that loads contains something with an ID of app title and something with text login. Actually, let's put link here. And then you click on the about link, and then it should show the header with the text about, and similar with episodes. So this is pretty straightforward to get started. I'll do the same for sign up and log in. That's pretty much it. And I guess the other thing is clicking the logo. All right, so let's take this and put it into the ticket. All right, my estimate. So in the beginning, you're always trying to figure out what your story points are. So based upon the amount of work that I did for the last one, all right, so let's go to the backlog, and I'm going to drag this up. See, it warns you about moving stuff into an active sprint, so don't do it. All right, next one is, so for this one, I'm going to put it in entry, and I'm going to call it entry view. I'm going to grab the beginning of this one, because I need this sample data to be able to do the test. Nice thing about copying and pasting scenario snippets is that you don't have to write the code for this again. You know, I'm going to actually add another one here, because all of these are going to need the website to be open. So I'm going to grab this one here. We fill in the data, then we open the website, and then we click the link that says episodes. All the rest of the tests assume that this has happened. This is enough for now, except I'm going to need a little bit extra here in order to indicate the order. How do we know what's previous and what is next? Now they're added to the database in this order. So that's one way, which is ID order. I can explicitly say previous and next, or I can add a new field here, which would be post date. I'm going to say post stamp. I use stamp as a suffix for things because it's a timestamp. That way I don't have to say like date time all the time. Yeah, I don't think this is going to be that hard either. I'm gonna call it a 2 as well. Let's go to the backlog and move this up to the sprint. Let's go back here and you can see that now I have these two. So I'm going to do this one first. Before I start it, let's commit the stuff that I just did. I'm going to add Jira integration to IntelliJ, and this is going to allow me to work directly with stories and make branches from those stories and also log time to those stories. All good stuff. All right, so go up into your settings and then search for Jira. You can see it does servers here, so I can click the plus sign and then add Jira. And then go back to my board and I wonder how much of it wants. I'll just do this for now and see what happens. And the email is going to be my personal email, and I need to make an API token. So I'm going to go into settings, account settings, security, API tokens. I already have one. I'll make a new one. So this is IntelliJ Tangle. Copy it and paste it here. Let's test the connection. It worked. And I want to go one down to time tracking and enable time tracking. Okay, so you see the time tracking is over here. And you'll see that this showed up as well, default task. So before I show that, I need to assign myself a couple of issues. So I'm going to open this up and do assign to me, and this one as well, assign to me. Now, when I open up this default task, I can click open task, and then it'll show the issues that are assigned to me. So I can pick one. It'll ask me a couple of questions. Should I clear the current context? And create a change list, which is going to be called tan3 with the description, and then create branch tan3 from the main branch. So this all looks good. I'm going to hit OK. And then you notice that it switched to the branch tan3. It switched to the task tan3 app template nav bar. And it also switched to the task in the time tracking. So now it's actually keeping track of the time I'm spending on this task. And this will happen whenever you're using IntelliJ and that's the current task. You switch to another task, it logs time to that task. You finish the task, you close it, you commit it, it'll log the time that you spent on the task to that. One thing that's nice to have actually is if you go into settings and change the suspend delay. Right now, this is set up for 10 minutes. So, you can make that less than that so that it'll stop the timer after 30 seconds. Let's do that. Let's put 30 seconds. All right, next on the docket is to install two tools that we're going to be using a lot called Webpack and Tailwind. So let's go put it, install Webpack Tailwind, and just take this first one. I'm going to go into my work directory and make a subdirectory called web, which is where all the front end stuff is going to go. And then I'm going to do this. Just created a file called package.json, and we're going to do npm install tailwind css. The D means it's going to put it in development dependencies. And then we're going to add all of these, which are Webpack related. Next, we're going to create a Webpack config. All right, and then we're going to create a style CSS in source. Now I'm going to make a Tailwind config CSS file, and likewise a post CSS. Now we're going to want an index.js file, and then create an index.html file. Okay, I'm going to put it in source. And come to think of it, I want the index.js file to be in there too. Now, if we look into package.json, we want to add some scripts here. And they started us off. We're going to want build, which is going to be Webpack, and start, which is going to start up a server, which is Webpack serve open. We're also going to use watch, which is simply going to be Webpack watch. I'll explain what each one of these does as I start to use them. We can change the name of our app to Tangle app. Version number should be 010. Description. Let's look at the post CSS. This looks okay. Tailwind. Yeah, we don't want the dist. What I'm going to want to do is put this into our target directory. This is not at all obvious, but it's going to help us start React with Spring. So I'm going to go back up one, and then I'm going to do target classes static. Now in Tailwind, instead of this, I'm going to put this. So this is going to do everything under the source directory that ends with an HTML, a JS, or a JSX. Let's go to the main page and change the title. And then you can see here it's pulling in something called bundle.js. Let's see if the build works. So I'm in web, and I'm going to do npm run build. And it went through, and hopefully it created in classes static this bundle. So this bundle is basically all the things that have been processed. So Webpack essentially takes all of your files, your cascading style sheet files, your JavaScript files, and everything else, and it just kind of bundles it all into one thing. And let's see if it actually works. We'll do npm run start. And it's saying cannot get. All right, this is what's going on here. So dev server is still looking at dist. So I'm going to just get rid of this. It also looks like it's just the bundle in here, and we need the static HTML file as well. So that tells me that I need to put in something called HTML web plugin. HTML Webpack plugin. We install it. And then we need this line at the top. And we need this at the bottom. And then we have to add a couple of parameters in here. Okay, this could work. So this is the file that's going to be served up, and this is where it's going to get the file, which they're calling a template. So let's try to build it. See if it worked. Yep. Let's try running it. And there's our website. Now you'll probably wonder where the styling came from, the big text in the blue. And that is from right here. This is Tailwind. But we will not be using HTML like this. we're going to be using React. And to enable React, we have to keep going with our Webpack configuration and add something called Babel. To do that, we'll need to set up React and Babel. I'll pick the top one here. First thing to do is install React and React DOM. And then this is the HTML that we want. Now the main difference is that we have this div here that has ID root. Now keep going down and we're going to put this in our index.js file. Currently there's hardly anything in there. So we're importing React and React DOM, and then we're going to use it here. So now it's time for Babel. To use Babel, we need to put some more rules in. And if you look in the Webpack config, you'll see that it has rules for CSS already. So we're going to add another one here, and this is going to be for JavaScript and JSX files. They're going to be running in Babel Loader. And then we want to have some rules for Babel. To use Babel as a transpiler, basically compiles things into a final format like CSS, JavaScript, HTML. And then we're going to put these as options in Babel Loader. And let's try it out. All right, it worked. So the styling is different, but the important thing to realize is that this is what's being loaded, and all of the information is coming in to this root thing. And the reason why this JavaScript here is getting the root element and it's rendering React into this. So we could put anything we want here, including real React stuff. But that'll wait for the next episode. For now, I'm going to commit our changes. Let's see on. Oh yeah, we gotta ignore node modules. All right, so I'm going to start doing something where I tag commits to the episode. So I'm going to put new tag, and I'm going to call it Tangle 16. And let's push. Tomorrow we'll start on React in earnest, and I'll show you how to push all this to the cloud with one command. Thanks for listening.